I want to talk a little bit about the idea of the challenges that are faced in our generation, particularly the challenges that people are going through during this time period, in Ikus and Mashiach, in the time right before the revealing of Mashiach. So why is there's so many nisyonos, there's so many challenges that are so great and they're unprecedented. These are challenges that whether older people or younger people are going through because of the technology revolutions and other things that have become revealed, the possibilities that become revealed in this world. That it seems strange if you think about it in terms of a big picture, in terms of history, in terms of development, in terms of where we are in our history. On the one hand, we seem to be getting closer, and every day we're getting closer, and we're living literally in the times of Mashiach. We can see it throughout the world, the interconnectivity of things, and the awareness of the oneness eventually become the oneness of Hashem. So on one hand, we see this all in this world. And on the other hand, there's also a tremendous amount of nisyonos, tremendous amount of challenges that people that lived, certainly adolescent people that have lived 50 years ago, 100 years ago, something before that, were not faced with such challenges. The nisyonos are tremendous. So the question is, just from a meta-historical perspective, why is it, what's the reason that specifically in this time period, people are going through much more challenges? This is also a question not only with regards to the collective challenges of modernity and everything that brought about, especially now in the postmodern era, what that's on that level. And then also personally, people are going through seemingly much greater challenges than they used to go through. Life seemed to be more simplistic, less with less dichotomy. And it seems almost counterintuitive to understanding if we're getting to a place where we're reaching a higher revelation of light, a higher revelation of the oneness of Hashem's presence in this world. And as we're getting closer to the footsteps of Mashiach, as we're getting closer to this messianic revelation of this spiritually utopian era, specifically this time when people seem to have less attention, there are more distraction, less abilities, superficially abilities of being attentive and with living with intention and mindfulness and presence. And specifically in this generation, people are going through tremendous challenges. So to understand what is this in terms of this meta-historical understanding. So in general, there are two words that could be defined as a test. We're talking about in this week's Torah portions, the readings of the Torah, which speaks about the 10 nisyonos of Avraham Avinu, the 10 challenges that Avraham went through. And according to Rabbi Yoda, the 10th challenge is this week's in Parshas Chayei Sarah, is the 10th challenge is Vayavi Avraham Sarah Chaysa, that Avraham comes down off the mountain, which is itself a challenge. So there's two in Lashon Kodesh. There are two words. There are two words in the Torah uses two words that are in Hebrew that could be referred to as a challenge or a test. One is the idea of nisayon. Nisayon is one word for test. Also comes to the word or nisi, to elevate a person. A challenge that is a nisayon. And one is a bechina, which is also a form of a test. Livchayin, the idea of a bechina. Now in Hebrew, what is a bechina? Bechina means a test. And literally this means, for example, let's say you're in school and you get tested on the material that whether you know or you don't know. So that's a bechina. That's called a bechina. What's the test? The test shows whether you know the material or you don't know the material. The test itself is not anything more than just revealing what's already present. If you know the material, then you get a good mark on the test. If you don't know the material, you don't get a good mark on the test. That's a bechina. Then there's a level which is called a nisayon. What's a nisayon? Which also seems to be an idea of a test. Nisayon is to reveal or to draw out potentials within yourself that you weren't even aware that you had, that you didn't know existed within you. Sometimes a person goes through a challenging time, or a time period, or a challenging situation with a child or a parent, whatever the challenging situation they're going through in life, or with distraction, or with other things that are causing a person to have certain challenges in life, especially spiritual challenges. So, what is the intention of the challenge? What's the intention of the Nisayan? Mr. Rabban writes about this as well. What's the intention of the Nisayan? The intention of the test. The intention of the Nisayan is to show the person, to reveal within the person deeper resources within their own level of their consciousness, their own level of mindset, to reveal new potentials that they didn't know actually existed. And that will allow them to overcome this particular test or this particular challenge. So the intention of the challenge is to draw out deeper levels of resources within themselves to reveal it to themselves, Let's understand this in terms of history, the development of history. We can also understand this also in terms of our own personal life. Every time before there is going to be a tremendous revealing of a greater light, a greater revelation of a likus in this world, a greater revelation of light in this world, there needs to be a type of expansion of the vessel that's going to receive this light. So let's say you are in a certain condition and you have your kalim, your vessels are the life that you're living in this present moment, and you have to receive a tremendous amount of greater light. You don't have the capacity in the vessels that you have now, in the kalim that you have now, you don't have the capacity to receive that light. So what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? What does Hashem do? Hashem creates for you a nisayan, a test, a challenge. And what does a challenge do? What the challenge does is it draws out and creates. On one level it creates, but on a deeper level it's actually this revealing. It draws out potentials within you that you didn't know you had. Possibilities and mindsets and capacities that you didn't know you had, how you could deal with this particular thing. And that creates the kelim, that creates the vessel for you to receive the greater light. In other words, when there's a light that has to be revealed in this world, and you don't have the kelim, you don't have the vessels to receive that light, there's a tremendous amount of light and blessings and miracles that has to happen into your life. But you don't have the vessels to receive these blessings, to receive these miracles, to receive these lights. So what expands your vessel? Because Baruch Hu gives you certain situations that creates challenges in your life. The challenges expands your vessel. That's what it essentially is doing. It's showing that the vessel of who you are to receive your life, which is your mindset, your feelings, your way of being in this world, even your physical self. You thought that you have this amount of strength to be, or this amount of bandwidth, and this amount of intellect, this amount of capacity to love, and the capacity to be present. You thought this is the maximum amount that you have. Comes a challenge. It shows you that there is deeper and more expansive states that you can be. So what it does, it actually broadens your vessel. And by broadening your vessel, you're able to receive the higher light that's going to be revealed. This we have to understand every time a person is going through a challenge, individually and also collectively. Every time a person is going through a challenge, a difficult time in their life, or they assume is a difficult time, and they don't understand why they're going through this particular challenge. And Vayaras Hamakim Merachik, and you see the place from a distance, which means that when a person is going through a challenge, they see everything from a distance. They see everything from far away. Nothing seems to be connected to them. They feel alienated. They don't feel like they have vision and clarity and a sense of direction. They feel almost directionless. This is what happens when a person goes through a challenge. This is literally what the Torah tells us, is even with Avram Avinu, which the Baal Shem Tov teaches, that when a person goes through Nisayan, a person goes through a challenge, they lose even their sense of trust and hope. You have to have trust until you have trust, because trust itself is something that's lost in the state when a person is going through these particular challenges. But you should know that the reason why you're going through these challenges are because you have to receive in a greater light, a greater miracle, a greater revelation of light, of Hashem's presence in your life. But your vessel is not big enough. The vessel that you're operating is functioning on a very low level or a very finite level, and you have to receive something that's tremendously more wonderful and tremendously more great and infinite. So you have to expand the vessel. So that the purpose of the Nisayan, the purpose of this challenge, is to expand your vessel to be able to receive the light. And the same thing also, we have to understand, this is also on a metaphysical, not a historical level. In terms of the history of all of history. The reason why we're going through such difficult times collectively, the nisyonis, the Klal Yisrael, the nisyonis, the challenges that we're going through collectively, the challenges that the world is going through in this very unhinged time, the time that seems very volatile and very uncertain, and it seems like things are shifting. There's tectonic shifts happening throughout the world, and it seems like there's a certain level of deep uncertainty. Whether this is an individual person's life, in the collective life, in the life of the class, in life in the entire world, it feels this way. We should know that. What is this telling us? This is telling us it has to draw deeper resources of vessel, that the kelim, the vessels of who we are, both as individuals and both as a collective of Klal Yisrael, and the world in its entirety itself, has to expand the vessels to receive a greater light, has to show that it actually can receive more, it can feel more, it can be more, it can think more, it can expand physically more. And the process of the Nisoyin, this challenge that we're going through, whether individually and collectively, is all there for one purpose, and one purpose only: to expand our vessels, to make sure that our kelim are greater in order for us to receive the greatest light that will be revealed. And this is an important lesson in general. Anytime a person is going through, in their own specific life, in their own internal life, they're going through hardships, whether it's difficulties with their children or their spouse, or with their own challenges with their own life, with parnosa, or with livelihood, or with shidduchim, with trying to find a match, or shalom bias in their own home. And a person is going through challenges that are not self-activated, that are not self-created, but these seem to be externally created and imposed upon you, even though on a deep level it's not, but on a superficial level it seems this way. You should know that these are all situations that are bringing you to a place that will allow for you to have an expanded vessels, for you to have an expansion of your kelim, an expansion of who you are in this world, to receive an even greater, higher light. Have a wonderful week.